The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to On the Clock with Erin Greene. As you can see, this is not Erin Greene's voice. This is C.A. Nuri, and I am babysitting on the clock while she is out. Erin will return tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and then she's going to be out again on Wednesday and return again on Thursday. And in the meantime, I shall be babysitting her spot and be having an entertaining and hosting a number of interesting guests Today, we have a mansion representing here. We have Dungi, right? This is going to be a continuation of a conversation we had last week. And then our WhatsApp and our text lines was inundated with text saying, what is the difference between the Nyabingi order and the Bobo Shante order? And I had the guests in studio for a different reason than trying to define that. So I said I need to have a second show just to distinguish the difference between the different mansions, explain what mansions mean, right? Explain why these two groupings in the Bahamas joined the House of Rastafari. And in order to have that conversation, I was privileged to get access to some elders in the Nyabingi mansion. Right, and they are in studio. And I want you to bring the mics closer to your lips, so people can hear you, and you can introduce yourself, and we'll start the conversation on what is Nyabingi, where the name come from, right, the history of that, so our listening audience can appreciate you as a member of that mansion, and also we will try to see if we can create a narrative, not to say create, to explain a narrative of what makes you unique, what makes you special. Because I'm just looking at you, right? You all don't have no turbans on. Your headdress is slightly different than the other Rastafarians who were here the other day. And I want to understand why. Why y'all seem, even though y'all are Rastafarians, you all seem to be of a different sect. And I want to understand what that sect is. So go ahead, introduce yourself formally. And then what you do is, the first person, introduce everybody. Right? And say hello, and we start that narrative about your trod in Rastafari. Yeah. I can start with you because you're pointing. Introduce yourself.
Greetings, one and all, those near and far out in radio land. I'm on Ras Bingi Charlie of the Nyabingi Order.
Yeah, man, Ras Copper.
Elder Peter, put down, speak directly to the mic for me, sorry.
Nyabingi Elder Peter. Nyabingi House.
Okay. Now, what is this Nyabingi House? And I see the Elder Peter first mentioned as a Nyabingi House. I want to understand, what is Nyabingi House?
Nyabingi House is one of the, well, first of all, Rastafari is a house of big family. And I in the Nyabingi is one of those houses. I is a foundation in the liberty of Rastafari here locally and internationally. Just as well as they have the Bobo Shanti and other groupings, I in the Nyabingi is one of the groupings, one of the original foundation groupings of Rastafari here in the Bahamas and globally throughout the world.
And one of the reasons why I invite you gentlemen here, right? Because I've seen that there is a change in Rastafarianism in the Bahamas. And I can explain the change, because it might say, what are you trying to say? Rastas inside the Bahamas is now embracing all of the Bahamas, it seems to me, where you are including us in your lifestyle. Say, come and experience who we are as Bahamian Rastas, right? Rastafari. And I'm seeing that there's a love. And I wanted to be terrified of Rastas when I was young now. But there's a love that Rastas is now pushing forward to saying that you are Bahamians and we love you, and therefore we can tell you, educate you about our lifestyle and how we live. And I want to know what caused this change. Because when I was younger, y'all said chant down Babylon. You all want to be a part of us.
I beg to differ with that.
Go ahead.
I don't see no change. I still chant down Babylon, bonfire on dirty Babylon. I always was welcoming ones and ones to the fold. I doors never closed, always open. The love is always there. It's an eternal burning love. It's just the I who now open up and feel the embrace Rastafari and the wider community. I was always excluded, shunned, and pushed aside through the down pressure of society. But I never waver. I love always was there. It's just that you now maturing and in saying that I could embrace that liberty what the Rasta man lives.
So that's what's changing, and I appreciate that too. That we can embrace Rastafari and say that y'all are Bahamian Rastas, and there's a place and a space to include you in the general society.
Okay, the greatest fear of a man is what he don't understand. I see. So when Rastafari first came about and started to maneuver to the Bahamas, there was this stigma against Rasta, known as some kind of dirty dread, black heart, rebellish, whatever type thing. Been going on ganja smoking, wearing dreadlocks, right? That was the times then, I see, because the racism was still in the heart strong of the people, and the discrimination was still in the heart strong of the people, I see what I'm saying? But as time going on, and we start to evolve, and people start to grow and see that the whole thing they get to understand is that the system around them was the violent one all the time. It was the beast all the time. It was like people carrying out these things where they had the Rasta man, his image to portray to them. I see, because it's only an image thing that made them think that because he looked so ferocious with his dreadlocks and knowing that he was smoking herbs, so his eyes stay red like fire. I see what he's saying. So he had this dreadful appearance. I see what he's saying. But in the heart was pure love. He was only there to show love, to spread love, to show the people and to hold on to the ways of creation, the ways of what I supposed to hold on to, still strain from the ways like you see enough of society has done. How you see they morphing into the society where they ungodly, where they immoral, and they deal with a lot of, immoral things and things like that. Rastafari show the people that we was a people of love, and they start to see that. They start to see that these people ain't dealing with them thing what we've been thinking or what the system been trying to make us think about them. They have a different vibration. They dealing with love. They peaceful. They love their music, whatever. They smoke their herb. Because that's the only thing what can really be stigmatized with as illegal in the system or do illegally in the system is the herb. Everything else is just pure love we deal with, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we've been pushing that love within our society and community through the music and through our liberty, the way we express ourselves. And that's what makes society begin to open up, like Elder Charlie say, and you start to love I&I now because you start to see the truth of I&I. You start to see what I&I really represent. Just love, just trying to bring part of creation, what was given life from creation, never stray from it, guys. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me speak to the elder there. As you are a elder in the Nyabingi, right? The Nyabingi order. What is the difference between if someone from not a learned eye just seeing Rastafarians walking? What if people say you are Nyabingi? I could see it because you travel and you do this particular thing in contrast to the different houses. What makes a Nyabingi Nyabingi?
Blessed light, blessed morning to all, outland and sea. But I'll say to that is, people will always be fearless of something they don't know. Like they fear it. That's what the police did. I&I, that there was fear of I&I just growing dreadlocks. But when we walk a road, we never look at ourselves to be this type of person, what they look upon us to be. Because like the brother here say, you ask up, all we do is spread love to the community. And we had most of all of the youths attached to us, coming forward to know of Rastafari. And I think that's what mostly society was afraid of. Because we had children around us who wanted to be wearing locks. At 19, you could say 1970-something, 1980-something, around them era. But
How long have you been trotting Rastafari?
I could say 50 years.
You've been Rasta for 50 years?
Yeah.
What made you embrace it to say this lifestyle is what Naya Biggie order is what I plan to follow? What made you do that?
First of all, Haile Selassie first.
Yeah.
Just calling his name and praising him, because it wasn't really no internet around to read about him in my time, or a book where you could go to and read. We only had the Bible, and we decided for the book, the Bible, to find ourselves in just hailing Rastafari. Because Rastafari is you and I. Because the man say you don't have to dread, but it's a divine conception of the heart. What one have to hold to and live. Don't care what go down.
So what makes, and for everyone now, what makes a Naya Bingi a Naya Bingi?
It's
Talk directly to the mic.
All right, first of all, in the concept of Rastafari, whether one know it or don't know it, every Rasta is Naya Bingi.
Every Rasta is Naya Bingi. Go ahead.
I see. Just to hail Haile Selassie is the Almighty, and trot Rastafari is Naya Bingi. Now, when you trot Rastafari, live Rastafari, as you grow, you may choose to say, well, in this house or in this room, this mansion, or in this space where I could see my liberty or my life in this particular space. But in the general scope of it, once you trot Rastafari, you trot Naya Bingi. Now, as Naya Bingi, there are certain things that I may do as a Ras. My brethren in the next room, as a Ras, he may see different, or he may live different, but we all is still Rastafari. Once a brethren accept Haile Selassie as his Lord and Savior, he is on the path of Naya Bingi.
So let me bait you. How come none of you gentlemen wearing a turban?
Well, like I could say this, Naya Bingi and Rastafari goes back into the foundations. And when I say foundations, I mean before all these things that what we come to know, Rastafari was. And that liberty was. Like if I say to you, I can remember when Sahara was a forest. I say that in Rastafari. Because as we know, Sahara is a desert. But there was one time a forest there. But you have to go so far back in antiquity, so far back in time, to that time when it was a forest. And that's where the foundations of Rastafari laid. But as we move forward through time, the Bible and other books, other ways of life became a very important role within the liberty. And the Levitical priesthood or the Levitical order, that order and that way of life is the way of life that is moved forward through the Bible. So all the laws that came from out of Moses and all of those things, they are involved within that Levitical priesthood and how they conduct themselves. I in the Naya Bingi order, we go beyond that. We would say we follow the order of Melchizedek, which is before the Levitical priesthood. So certain criteria within that Levitical priesthood, I predate those things. So within the Levitical priesthood, the priests inside the Levitical priesthood, the priests of Israel in those times or in Judaism, they used to wear turbans and then they lived by a certain criteria that I in the Naya Bingi, we don't ascribe to, like, say, for instance, in the dietary laws or the eating habits the Levitical priesthood would do. I go beyond that because I see it from a natural perspective, pure natural perspective. So certain things that the way they may eat, I don't eat that way. The way how they may dress, with the turban and the robes, and I free from that. And then as you move along that path, you'll find that there are certain things that is different amongst I as Nyabingi from the rest of the other ones who trot within this liberty and within this family of Rastafari. I see.
I see. Actually, I understand.
It's a predating. It's more like saying before you start to write, the consciousness was already there before a man put it on a paper. The life was there, almost like in the Bible when I think it's Cain who was kicked out of the garden, but then he said, "What can happen to me if I do certain things?" And it was said that life was outside the garden. Don't worry, because I will put a mark on you, but discipline is out there because they know if they harm you, it will be a judgment put on them 7 times, even more. But it's trying to show you that outside of the garden, there was also life. So that's just trying to show you that before you start something was always there before you.
Ras Copper.
Yes, brother.
I actually have a text here, and I'm trying to translate it in a nicer way. And basically, the text is saying that Rasta has a bad rap. Why so many Rastafarians seem to be criminal-minded? And I know earlier, the elder Bobby, I'm trying to make sure I can pronounce your name correct.
Bingy Peter.
Peter. I don't know where I get Elder Peter mentioned that misunderstanding of the general public made the police afraid of Rasta because he's living a different lifestyle. So perhaps that viewpoint criminalize or make their bias and their viewpoint of Rasta and say, man, you're all criminals by just how you all live. But there are people who say, man, no, there are Rastas who's just criminally minded culturally. I want to know your commentary about that.
First of all, to that person whoever texted or whatever, right? What would they call criminal minded? First of all, because the Rastas who I know, all right, who I know for over the years moving through, they was always, like I say, dealing with peace and love and dealing with Rastafari vibe. And the only thing that you can find illegal within the sector in the systematical way is the ganja smoking. That I say is in. And over the years, you had like, okay, let me sum it up like this by saying, there's good and bad in everything and in everybody. You gonna have a few negative or bad seeds in every organization. That I say saying, you go in the police force, you got corrupt cops. You go in the church, you got corrupt pastors. You go wherever it is, you can find people of corruption. So you can find 1 or 2 people but wearing the locks and might don't represent the whole Rastafari community. So first of all, when last have you seen any Rasta in the public or any news for doing any violent crimes in the Bahamas besides some ganja smoking? Like, see, when last you see Rasta for any serious, like I ain't talking about no dreadlocks wearing person. I'm talking about a Rasta because, see, they have to distinguish the difference between someone who wearing locks and someone who said it's Rastafari. I'm on uphold peace and love and David Rastafari, and we in defense of ourselves if it comes down to us defending ourselves, our rights, or our family, or one of our brothers or sisters. But we are not violent people. We don't advocate violence towards no one in no type, form, or way in the system. That I see they saying?
Okay.
We don't advocate violence towards no one and no form of in the system. That I see they saying. So when that person say violent minded, that I see criminal minded, they have to distinguish what they mean and who they addressing, because like I say, in this society and day and time, locks has become a style and fashion to plenty people. Plenty people wearing it. But that don't mean there's Rasta. That I say saying. So let them tell them distinguish who between the locks wearing dreadlocks, who might be out there wearing locks and maybe a gangster or whatever under the wearing the locks, but not the Rastafari man who say they hail Selassie and move through in the Rastafari order. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, I see I had a number of calls, but they hung up just now. You can call back at 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and you can join in the conversation with the Nyabingi order that's here today. But go back to the elder Peter, right? This question asks, is Rastafari a religion or lifestyle? And the next question is, Do you believe in Jesus? I can believe in Jesus. And do you believe in God? I know where they get to believe in God from, but do you believe in Jesus and believe in God?
Well, blessed love once again. First question you said?
Is Rastafari a religion?
No, it's not.
Go ahead, explain that.
Rastafari is a way of life. Because a religion is something you get from your priest, or that's my agitating on it, and I know it come from really Christianity came from more Rome than it come from, I could say, the West. The West bring to I the Christianity, but Christianity was found in Ethiopia way before the talking of this Christ child Jesus. I cannot say I believe in Jesus. That'll be contradiction to my faith, because if I say Haile Selassie I is my Most High, He is my God and King, how can I have something would come after him? What was, after Ethiopia, what was, and at the time they had no J in the alphabet to announce this Jesus. But I have nothing against ones who know him, know Jesus, and live for Jesus. But at the same time, I hail this to no one.
Okay, let me get to the next elder, right? Y'all use the Bible, though. I see y'all open, I get my Bible.
Hold on.
You just say you don't like him with Jesus, but you open up my Bible,
Hold on.
right? And you use my Bible.
Hold on. Your Bible.
Yeah, it's my
you
Bible.
write the Bible?
What you mean if I write the Bible?
I ask you, you write the Bible? What are you trying to get
I see
out
you
of
trying
it?
to trap me.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
trying-
Go ahead.
I don't
Go
deal
ahead.
with trap. Let me show that. That book is a book that any man could pick up and read. And what interpretation you get from the book is your interpretation. The interpretation I man get is I man interpretation. But for some, feel as though, well, they have ownership over this book. You know, the ironic twist in the book is that the most tragic thing that ever happened in the history was slavery put upon the black man. And if it wasn't for slavery, what would that book mean to you? Because you don't follow your ancestors. You don't show no love and respect to your ancestors. You follow the ways of that book. And you follow the interpretation by your slave master from that same book. I could read the book and don't follow it from the slave master's point of view. So I could use that same book. Like my father said, he glorified inside that book. The message what I get from the book may not be the same message you may take from the same book. They say a so-called or a Jew could use the book and he could find an interpretation. A brother who practiced Islam can go in that book and he might have a different interpretation. You read the book. If you read the book, and in your view of Christianity, if all is one set of Christian, why you have so many denominations and so many different views of it? So it's just that if I read the book, one feels as though, well, I don't have no Rastafari. And only Christian man have ownership of the book. But then you only reading from a Western interpretation of this book, which I totally reject. So I could respect the anointed name because Christ is only anointed. And a man who was anointed, I could respect that. But the English version of this Jesus, nah, dash that away. Don't deal with that. But I could still talk of a man who was anointed. His name was what? You could talk about that. But then when we get into the, like you say, religion, I more or less deal with spirituality than religion. Because religion is something that is organized, constructed in such a way that that's the thing would put me in bondage. And all my ancestors had to face the atrocity. And even to this day, with the inception of Rastafari, the oppression would come down on my elders here, when I was a youth, was by the same so-called Christian man using the same book with the same Jesus name. I can't follow them things. You oppress me, and now you want to come to say, hey, I could walk. Not to lift me up, but you want to walk on the side of me or accept, right? After you and do all these things that and all I trying to do is just live. And when you check my message is only a different message than you. My message is just a message of His Majesty and of Africa, which you reject.
I appreciate it, and I see your point of view. And the text line going full automatically. A lot of people, you vexing a lot of people, right?
Well,
but we can take this.
That's what I
But they
supposed to do.
They dread though. You see how he said? They dread. Because
We can take a break now. Short break, and we'll come back and continue the conversation, right? Because behemoths love up their Jesus.
I can't stop you from loving Jesus, you know.
you want to add something
But I
to that
love
Jesus?
Selassie.
Yeah, I want to add something to that Jesus thing.
We can take a break. We can take a break right now and let you add. This has been On the Clock with Erin Greene. Of course, this is Cecil Nuri who's holding on for Erin. We have the host of Nyabingi here, a representative of the host of Nyabingi, and they're explaining their trod in life, right? This way of lifestyle they're given, and giving some history and a narrative and how they are living in the Bahamas and how they respect others, and they want people to respect them for their views. Anyway, we'll be right back.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. So big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Attention Bahamas. Embark on an inspiring voyage with 2 new books by Hubert Ingram, Our Remarkable 3-Time PM. Learn of his exceptional leadership in steering the nation through local and international storms. These books are a treasure for all Bahamians. Are you into history or seeking inspiration? Then this is a must-read. Available at Dungalik, Logos, the National Art Gallery, and Chapter 1. Get your copies today. Be inspired by a legacy of wisdom and vision.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Going on, let's protest. Children of Israel who really love rights. For just a time as a watchman around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of
Israel.
Yeah, man.
I wanted the music come out so y'all can continue to sing. Can you imagine I'm here and there's a chorus of Rastafari singing, right?
Yeah,
so I'm excited about it. We have a caller online now. Let me allow the caller to engage the host of Nyabingi here. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear us?
Yes, morning to you, and give thanks and praises for the brethren in the studio today.
Good morning.
All powers, yes, King.
Yes, give thanks and praises, Majesty.
Yeah, man, Rastafari.
Yes, Rastafari. Yeah, you asked the question. I mean, but what I feel too is that what changed, at least why Rastafari had so much opposition, and still to this day. But I mean, you know, and I must give thanks for the brethren of the past, because I sat around years ago. I used to sit around and I heard some elders tell some stories of their experience back in the day, and man, I mean, it was terrible. You know, so I mean, and it only could be the truth that would cause individuals to continue to trot on in spite of all of that pressure. You know, that kind of way, because you know you can't hold on to a lie. A lie can't keep you going like that. You know, but what happened is that Rastafari stands in direct opposition to the religious system of the day. You know, in Islam, ain't no one in Islam claiming to be no King of Kings and no Lion of Judah. You see, but Rastafari is that. You understand? So you had to keep that truth down, because if that truth was allowed to spread among the people, then they would see that the churches couldn't exist. The system would collapse. You know, so as the Bible talk about, with the increase of knowledge has increased now. So now more people are aware that the religious system that we have been brought up in needs to be questioned. You know what I mean? So because of that, they start to see Rastafari differently now. You understand where I come from? Because one time ago, the climate around the whole country was that, you know, that kind of way. And if you said anything other than that, you know what I mean, it couldn't be. But now the truth is out now, and people are beginning to question those things.
And that's the important part of what you said there, the same word, they question it. You see, instead of just been relying on something that has been taught to you, and you're afraid to step out the box and question it. Where did you get that information from? Show me the historical characteristics behind that information you're giving me.
Yes, my buddy, you must question it. And the thing about question is that if you are questioning anybody who is making a claim and they refuse to answer you, run from them.
Yes.
You understand where I'm coming from? Because the truth bears no contradiction. You understand? And that's why Rastaman is so free to have a conversation with anybody. They don't go running. If you try to go have a conversation with these Christians, and even some of them in the pastors, the churches, they don't want to have a conversation with you because they cannot defend what it is they're dealing with. But what I wanted to say too is that I see a trend, my brethren, and I don't know if you all are aware of this, is that nowadays, like, when you're watching the rap videos and the individuals, especially in the States, who pushing this type gangster rap and thing now, right? The image that they have in they grow in their hair.
Natural.
I mean? They starting to look.
The bearded face and all them different type things.
Yes, my brother, and I mean it's concerning to me because see, one time ago, you know, like you know, that type of gangster fellas, them they used to have ball head.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. But now the way they look is changing. It's like they trying to like, and I don't like it. You understand where I'm coming from? I mean, for certain reasons that because I think it's all a part of a whole system to try and do certain things. But like I say, I respect anyone who, like I say before, who's not afraid to question the times that we live in. But like I say, I just feel as if that the reason why Rastafari had so much pressure back then is because it stands in direct opposition to the system that be, you know, a Muslim, like I say, no one inside Islam claiming to be King of Kings, conquering land of the tribe of Judah. So they fine with that. They can allow Muslims to be in society because it's not going to cause a problem.
Plus, it is the last and tampered with movement on the planet that a group of people has carried out. Or all the Christianity, all the Muslim, whatever you call, all of them have been contaminated in some type, form, or way with corruption or some type of profit of money or seeking. Even the church has turned to prosperity preaching and is be preaching for the money and all that instead of the kingdom of God, but it's always come before. You know what I mean? And so it's like we are the only set of people on the earth that is just try to praise the Creator and live natural according to Mother Earth, nature, and without being caught up in any systematical vibe or whatever like that, and don't take no bribe or nothing like that from the system. Just keep agitating for human rights and rights of people and to carry out the ways of our ancestors that was before us that said, you see?
So, Elder Charlie, what is the future for the Nyabingi order? Like I said, I've seen the House of Rastafari doing all kind of activities, right, to join all the mansions together, right? education. Oh, I see you, Elder. I can let you go too.
I run from that back and I still I won't reply back to that Jesus wife said me too. Don't let's get away from that.
Make sure I don't forget. Make sure I don't forget.
Yeah.
I want to know what next.
What I did, that same question. Go through
Go ahead.
it there.
The question was, what is I&I way forward?
Yes.
First of all, equal rights and justice for I&I all.
Yo, I got equal rights, right?
No, man.
What else you want?
What else? We ain't get nothing yet.
If you
Don't
don't
want
get
nothing.
equal rights and justice,
We ain't nothing we have asked the system for we get yet.
Okay, finish the list. Give me some lists and things. What you want? What's the way forward?
well, first of all, the love of Her Majesty bringing I&I together as one. Because out of love comes overstanding. And unity is strength. And once I&I have those things, I&I could move forward. So a lot of impediments is being the way. These impediments is be Babylon system putting roadblocks, hindering I&I movement. Love to repatriate, but I&I overstudy. It's not an overnight process. I&I have to build, I&I have to grow, I&I have to mature, I&I have to do things for the upliftment of I&I people. I&I need a lot of upliftment. And education is vital to that.
I can stop you there, and I'm going to go to the Elder, right? What can the system, when I say the system, government, do to assist the Bengi order, by extension, the Rastafarian order?
Yeah,
and I see the phone blinking again, but I want you to answer that. What can our government do to assist Rasta? Closer to the mic.
First of all, I'd like to say they only could leave the Rasta man alone, they'll be good. You know, once they leave I&I alone, not taking away that I&I ain't gonna follow laws of the system. That means to do good always. Not to say follow their law in all its entire, but just do good. Because good is everything. Once you do good, there ain't no law could never need to really come and arrest you. Because you ain't doing nothing wrong. And if they passing this herb bill, especially what they talking about now, they don't even have, like, I&I body is the tabernacle of the Most High.
We can talk about that now.
Such as you.
We can talk about that
Or
too.
whoever out there who call the name of any part of looking at life and saying this my Christ and they say this who they serve. Yeah.
Okay. Let me go to this caller, and I'm going to come to you, Ras Copper, right? Go ahead, Cody. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
I heard that the body is the tabernacle. I've heard the body is the temple.
That's still tabernacle, brethren.
Let me give you an example, and then see how you respond to it. If I were to run through the bush, and I have a part of my body that's naked, I would get scorched with some of the debris in the bush. I would get scorched, and I'd get scars on my outer skin. Now, there seems to be a religious habit of putting nicotine in the lungs in the body, which scorches the inner skin. And I'm wondering, why do people put nicotine in their lungs to scar their inner skin when claiming that the body, and they should not be smoking?
Well, if your Bible tell you that, you get that from the Bible that a man shouldn't smoke?
Scientifically speaking, if you put smoke into your lungs, nicotine is in it and it's going to scorch up your inner skin.
Nicotine and herb? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
The nicotine he probably referring to is the cigar we might be using, maybe burn herb sometime or stuff like that. But I mean, like, to really get for not no disrespect to the caller we're calling in, right? But right now, when we say the body's a temple, all right, okay, the temple could be, or our bodies are a temple. We maybe use it to do the best we can spiritually, because no one is perfect, king, and we only trying to strive for perfection. Okay, you might build a temple And the temple is beautiful when you first build it, but if you don't maintain it and keep it a certain way, it'll dilapidate and mash up, and you'll have to keep restoring it to keep it going. See, with the body, you have to keep restoring your spirit. You have to keep restoring yourself because you battling spiritual wickedness in I know places. You battling biological warfare. You battling all kind of things. Okay, so when we here, I say we have the body as our temple. Yes, we know we have to keep it clean and do the best we can, but we also is only human and also have our needs for certain things, or our what you call cravings for certain things, or even weakness to certain things that we have to find courage within ourselves and discipline to overcome. So we can't sit here and point rock at each other and all that, because you have the same pastor man who's preach on the pulpit every Sunday. He have faults in his life too, but he don't want to be pointing the finger at him in the congregation. He be sitting down and say amen to everything he say. So we just have to just know that we have to help build each other and encourage each other along the way. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, to move forward and trying to become perfect in the ways of the Creator, and also to become better in our life and the liberty and everything we do. It's just a work in progress. That's what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
Earlier, Elder Charlie mentioned to get overstanding and knowledge or education, something to that effect. And forgive me if I misquoted you, Elder Charlie. I have a text who are questioning whether Rastafarianism, Rastas, are seeking out higher education to be able to explain themselves properly, especially dealing with this Babylon system where the persons you're negotiating with have PhDs and big O levels and whatever it is, and then you all are speaking from a basic truth and saying, is there anyone in the community, or if you're sponsoring anyone in the community to say, hey, we send you off to school so you can able to speak their language?
Hey, hold on. What do you mean speak their language?
Speak their language?
No, I mean...
No, I just trying to make sure you understand the question.
All right. No, what I'm trying to get at is, like, this defining and putting in a box, like, I uneducated or I have to have a PhD behind. I just as a man, this just a liberty. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. Either you accept me or you don't accept I don't need to go to no school just to show these are my credentials. I could speak with anybody. I don't care if you're from Parliament to Buckingham Palace. You only is a flesh like I don't need those credentials to say who am I. I know I have a skill. You can enlighten one and show them that skill. Yes, I get what you're trying to say as like an orator or someone who on a basic level could speak to one who may use certain words and so forth. But I just as man, we don't need to have someone to go and speak. That one comes sit down with and we could sit down and we could reason. Out of reasoning, one can get overstanding. I see where you're coming from?
Definitely. I have another caller here to engage you. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a blessed morning. To the King is Imperial. Put away all material. Yeah, brother. The problem is, I agree with you in the fact that I'm 60, and so I could remember back in the days how people were treated. Even as I graduated from school, my brother, he was a Rasta from then. And so the minute I started to grow my locks, right, it was a problem with society. And so what happens is, I didn't always have locks. You cut and you let it go. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, when I see the inferiority complex, even as I walk into business establishments, as an upholsterer, I was appalled. I walked in a business establishment the other day, and the lady was frightened. And she looked at me, and I was like, I tell her I have an upholstery shop. I come to buy some material, and the store was crowded. And she kind of like put me on the spot, and I got angry. I was telling her, calm down, relax. This is the elderly. I don't know what the problem was, but our brains, and C.A. Nuri, by the way, no one wants the Bible. The scriptures are there. And so as it relates to this conversation about PhDs and all of these things, right, knowledge was before college. And so what happens is people like Bobo Willie from Andrews, Priest Blyden, Joe Blyden know me well. And all these elderly Rastas who I knew, right? Even Marx, they would always have this argument. You know, they say, "Oh, but you got to stop eating meat as a young man," and people will be arguing. But then when you read the Bible, right? I don't know if you know about zoonosis, and so then you juxtapose that as the reason why the mandate from God is saying you do not eat meat and even with the blood in it. So you pick up diseases, et cetera, et cetera. So I used to be arguing with them, and I come to find out in later years, just in studying science, that you actually get diseases from consuming animal meat, and even so much in abundance. And so the fact that our brains are being stained religiously, even as I went to school in Jamaica, you would hear stories about the rude boy movements. I actually read the book, the Birth of Rastafari in Jamaica by some Indians, but the Nazarite vow, the Nazarene vow always existed, because even though Egyptians were the first to invent comb, right, we still know that wearing the hair naturally is just a natural way of life. But we see today where once you do that, it's a problem. So this indicates to me the colonial stain, brain drain. I don't care what nobody say, because it's only a natural way of life. Rasta, he doesn't have to go to school. It's a natural way of thinking, a natural way of life. So it doesn't need accolades from man, from humanity in order to give credence to itself. It's a natural religion. And so they have different sects, the Naya Bingi, the Bobo Shani, and the 12 tribes. And so everybody have different reasons for covering their hair, right? You know, just personal reasons different. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't be frightened by people who wear locks. This is just a natural form of life and separating yourself. And so, bless in Mikey Spice. And also, there's a song written in the 70s. I think it was Shorty the President. Nati pass him GCE. Nati pass him subject and sit up in a UC. Mercy Lord. You have to play these songs. These songs are being forgotten. You don't just... when Rasta Brethren is be out by the Gladstone Park, I know him very well, but I can't remember his name. He's able to speak Hebrew, and every time I talk to him, me and him walk away with something. I don't know what this guy... But he's very enlightened. So I don't look down at anybody. You see what I'm saying? And so what happens is you have... The Western world have monopolized religion. And so then our God concept, when people say, oh, well, Haile Selassie was a Christian. But let's remember, the Christianity, the God concept of Ethiopia is different from the Western concept. And you're still deifying a white Serapis man, and you're looking, we can't make it like that. You know, we have to look to the east. Bless.
Yes, I give thanks for your insights, still King Rastafari live.
Right now we have 3 minutes, and I know you promised that you might stick around for another hour. I'm not sure if you're still committed to that. I have some question about the new legislation about marijuana and how y'all fit into it, and I want to know how you were embraced or there was an interview with you all in general from the government. So I'm going to go in detail with that type of question on the other side of the break. But I see you, caller. And let's see, am I able to squeeze you in? I have 2 minutes. No, caller. Can you squeeze him in? Let me squeeze you in. Go ahead, caller, so we can get that question out, and then we'll continue on the other side.
Yes,
Go ahead.
good day. I just want to say thank you so much for your show, your progressive show, and maybe continue to progress. But, you know, herb is really a sacrament, not a habit. We use it to burn as a ritual, so you can get into the meditation and on the spiritual height. But then I also want to say that the caller before me, give enough thanks and praise for his enough knowledge and understanding. Enough blessings to you all, always. I'll call in another day because your time is short.
No, I have a next hour with this, so I want you particularly.
Oh, okay.
I want you to call in on the next hour after the show.
Okay.
You in particular.
Rastafari is a way of life, you know, and we don't have no freedom. And that's what we are agitating for, so we could practice our rituals and our doctrine freely as any other movement.
Rastafari.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Give thanks and praise to the Most High.
Listen out for the next side of the show. We on the Guardian Radio AM is going to start up, and we're going to continue with the conversation. This has been... Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. This has been On the Clock with Erin Greene. We were interviewing members of the Naya Bingi Order, who's a part of the House of Rastafari, one of the mansions there. We was going in detail about the differences and the similarities, and I was educated by Elder Charlie that all Rastas are Naya Bingi.
Yes, man.
Even though there are many mansions that they can go and define themselves to be different, all Rastas are Naya Bingi because how they you say it in your words.
Once you accept Haile Selassie as the Almighty, you is a Rastafari, you is a Naya Bingi, because really, Nyabingi is, as they would say, death to all white and black down process. And I in Rastafari are not racist or look to say I supremacist, but I look to uplift I black African identity and consciousness.
I can bait you on that, Rasta Charlie, on the next side. Because you say you were racist. But I want to know if I could be white and I could be Rasta. But I know what you're talking about that now. We can talk about it on the next side. Because I still want to challenge Ras Copper about Jesus. Because my WhatsApp, my text line going crazy, saying, if you ain't embrace Jesus, anyway.
You ain't going to heaven.
He ain't going to heaven.
Yeah.
We can't talk now. We got to go. We got to end the show. We got to end the show. This has been On the Clock with Erin Greene. My name is
You keep dodging like you play for the Dodgers for the last couple of minutes. You've been saying I can come back to you. I can let you go and then I just go and say, you keep dodging though, man. You keep dodging.
We going back. This has been On the Clock with Erin Greene. My name is C.O. Nuri. We'll be right back.
Blessed love.
Fight down a war and a crime. Fight down a war and a crime.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.